everybody. I hope everybody's doing good today. Finishing setting this up. All right, here we go. I think we got it. Yay. Um, I want to talk this afternoon a little bit about inflammation and insulin resistance. So, in my Facebook group, that's the focus this week. So, you guys, one of the things with inflammation and insulin resistance that I would like everybody to understand is that it's a two-way street. It's not just that insulin resistance causes inflammation, but inflammation more likely causes insulin resistance. So there's so much to talk about here, and I'm just going to tell you, I've had a really, really long week, lots going on. So I'm not as focused as I'd like to be, but let's talk about it. You guys, when I'm talking about inflammation causing insulin resistance, I want you to stop and think about things like surgeries, injuries, bleeding teeth and gums, inflammation there, um, head trauma, asthma. There are so many things when we have inflammation occurring in the body, any kind of infection can start to cause insulin resistance. So the other thing that I think is really interesting, and this goes back to why people used to think that fat caused insulin resistance, because fat in itself, when your fat cells get too full, they can cause these pro-inflammatory products and cause inflammation in the system, but it also causes um, insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is making you fat, but then the inflammation that's coming from the fat are causing more insulin resistance. Now you're in this negative feedback loop, right? So the other thing is, hey, Amory, when we're having insulin resistance, it's definitely showing up in the body as inflammation in a number of areas. So when we think about things like rheumatoid arthritis, that's a place that we start having insulin resistant inflammation, and it's putting your joints at risk. And I know I was one of them. I had both osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. Both of them can be linked to insulin resistance. The bottom line is that if we're wanting to get healthier, if we're wanting to stop having so much pain, inflammation, brain fog, all of these things, we need to understand that there's one thing that's really at the root of almost all of it, and that thing is insulin resistance. So we're going to talk about insulin resistance today. I'm going to explain how it happens. We're going to talk about how you can get over it. I'm going to show you the protocol that I use to help me get over it. We're just going to have a discussion. So anybody that has questions, please ask them. I will do my best to answer. But I want you to understand there's a definite link between inflammation, which also means autoimmune diseases, your gut and inflammation in there, and insulin resistance. All right. So insulin resistance is affecting 93% of us, or I should say metabolic insufficiency, a decrease in metabolic rate is happening for 93% of us. Where that all starts with is some insulin resistance. And that all starts because of the food industry we have, right? So how many of you guys feel like the food that you eat, hey Crafty, is just absolutely everything you need, that it's giving you all the nourishment you need, that you feel like it's clean and it's building health in your body? I think a lot of us have shifted from understanding that food is our health wealth to just thinking of food as something that's yummy and tasty and gives us enough to get through the day, but we stopped seeing it as an energy source. We stopped seeing it for many of us as a nourishment source. It's frustrating because it's been marketed to us that way, right? We have so many candy bars and chips and all of that stuff being marketed at us. And even then when they're like, okay, people are going on to the fact that all this stuff isn't healthy. So guess what? We'll package it as a protein shake. We'll package it as a protein bar. We'll package it as healthy chips. Now you're still snacking and you're still eating these things, but you're still getting sick because of the food that we're eating. A little thirsty this afternoon. So understand that the food that we're getting is not what it's supposed to be, and that we're eating too much of it. We're eating too much of it because we're constantly hungry. The reason that is happening is because fibers have been stripped from our foods. It's just a reality. We do not have enough fiber in food. So you get a cereal product that's predominantly carbohydrates, and they add a little extra fiber to it, so it has more than most of the cereals on the market, and then they'll call it high fiber. But is it really? It's really not. So one doctor that I listen to, and I've been talking about this a lot this week, but he says the one nutrient that he sees that we should be addressing that nobody's really addressing enough, that could change the whole landscape of our health and give us back hope for longevity or a longer life, is fiber. And adding in 3 to 5 grams of fiber a day, about what's in this, can add 10 to 15 years of longevity for you. But guess what? When we're talking about pain and inflammation, it's also changing the gut microbiome. We have this thing in our gut. It's like this whole other little world. How many of you guys have watched, what was that, Men in Black, where they show like all these universes inside of universes inside of universes, and then like we think we're the big piece, but at the end it shows that we're this like little tiny piece in this huge universe. Well, we have all of these universes living inside our stomach and our intestines, and there's this multi-diverse thing growing in there. How we feed that system depends on whether it's giving us health or whether it's giving us sickness. And when we're having too much sugar, too much food that's turning into sugar too quickly, and the absence of fiber, what we're building is a dark empire. Okay. So no longer do we have the Jedi Knights, we have the dark empire over here, and it's building and it's causing sickness, and you now have autoimmune, and you have inflammation, and you have pain, fibromyalgia, joint pains. All of that's going on in your body because that universe inside isn't doing so well. Why is it not doing so well? Because all of the goodness, the fibers and stuff we need have been stripped out. So that's really the answer, right? What we need to do is start paying attention to the fact that we need to get fibers back in, start fortifying the good part in our gut so that those little Jedi Knights can start taking over again. And really the root of this issue. So when we have that more positive gut microbiota, then we also are starting to reduce inflammation. So inflammation causes some insulin resistance, but insulin resistance can cause inflammation in a number of ways. So it's a balancing act, right? But the one thing that you can do to avoid all of this and start to create better health, besides avoiding being injured, is to address the insulin problem that's going on for most of us in our bodies. So that just has to do with putting back what's been stripped out, and you would be amazed. I have story after story, mine included. You guys, my inflammation, let's put the science aside for a second. This isn't one I talk about as much, but I had a walker, I had a cane. If I can find those, I should have had those pictures up. But maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Let's take a look. Let's take a look and see if I can find that picture. But I had a walker, I had a cane, I had disability plates on my car. I couldn't go up and down the stairs. I was just struggling. I was full of inflammation. I couldn't see my kneecaps anymore. I had swelling in my feet. I had edema and neuropathy throughout, and life sucked pretty bad. And I didn't know what was going on, and doctors weren't able to figure it out. And then I started hearing about this product, and I started doing the protocol that I'm going to talk to you about. And lo and behold, by doing that thing to help my diabetes, which back then I didn't know was insulin resistance, all of that went away. My joint pain went away. A knee that was supposed to get replaced last year no longer needs to be replaced. It doesn't cause me any pain. It's not popping. It's not clicking. I don't have any of those things. So insulin resistance was a great part of why I lost 3 joints already. Both hips have been replaced and a knee. I'm 59. That started at 45. Why did it start at 45? The doctors couldn't figure that out. I now like to think that I was so insulin resistant, my joints weren't getting what they needed. So my meniscus was wearing out. I actually, in my left knee, the ligaments and tendons were so loose that my knee would just move in and out of joint all the time. Why? Because those pieces of my body were not getting the nutrients and the energy they needed to recuperate and regenerate. And so I lost 3 joints. Anyway, inflammation was a big part of that. Now I don't have that inflammation. In fact, I injured my foot the other day and I took my sock off because I'm like, oh God, it's going to be swollen. Even with an injury in my foot, I still don't have the swelling and edema that I used to have because I'm taking care of the insulin, which means the inflammation has gone out of my body. In fact, a couple years ago, I sat down in the summertime with some shorts on in my home, and I'm like, whoa, I can see my kneecaps again. And that was crazy to me. So, let's come up here. So sorry for this, you guys, but this picture right here was a year after the system. I was donating my cane, my walk, and you can barely see the disability plate there on my car. This was me. I couldn't go up and down stairs. I was just sick and tired. I hurt everywhere. This is me now. Okay, so all of that I did not expect to get better by addressing my diabetes. But it's all linked. So Ingrid says, I have all these symptoms and you're tired all the time. Your body hurts. You have inflammation all over. So let's talk about that, okay? We talked about food is causing the problem. We talked about that we need more fiber, but no, it's not Metamucil. No, it's not Benefiber. So many people have tried that and they're just not getting better. So yes, you can do keto, and yes, you can do restrictive diets, and you can do all of that stuff. But I want you guys to have something that's simple and sustainable and realistic, because keto diet isn't really meant for you to be on for a lifetime. So, all right, what I did, all I did was understand that this insulin resistance was causing a problem. I needed to get my blood sugars down. Did I eat perfect to get there? No, I didn't. So, why do I feel like I'm in slow motion today? Because I'm usually so animated in the morning. So I have a tea that I drink in the morning. I'm actually having my second one now. The tea will give me some mental clarity and energy. It will help me have physical energy, but I don't get crashes. I don't get burnt out. It's just an amazing sustained energy. Part of the reason for that is in a fasted state. We're going to talk about fasting. Don't get scared. Intermittent fasting is easy and it's healthy when your body can handle it because we're getting the insulin down. So I have the tea in the morning. It helps me in the fasting state. It helps me kick out ketones and HGH and all of that so that I'm keeping my blood sugars down. I'm burning off this storage of fat that's there. More importantly, it's keeping the insulin down the longer I'm in that fasting state. That's why we want to fast. Yes, you get all these other benefits, but for us that are sick like you, Ingrid, what we want to do is get that insulin level to come back down. We have trained because we're eating every 2 hours. We're snacking. We're having foods that are converting into sugars way too quickly. So it's like training this insulin resistance to stay high. And when insulin is high, all of these things start to break down because the system becomes resistant to it. Insulin's amazing and we need it, but too much of it is like, we're done. We're not having any more of this. And now even the cells that need it aren't getting it in. Okay. So we do the tea in the morning, and then I do some intermittent fasting. So about a 16-hour fast and an 8-hour eating window. And then when I do eat, I add in this supplement that just gives me the fibers that I need to help reduce the blood sugar spike. So I'm keeping the insulin low and it's keeping everything controlled, and I'm able to control my diabetes, which I am no longer considered diabetic. My A1C is 5.3, my blood sugar is in normal range, and my triglycerides are all in normal range, and I'm not on any medications. I've been medication free for 2.5 years. And all of these symptoms above here that they have over there I've overcome all of that. My blood pressure was 180 over 150. I had all that pain I talked about. I don't have any of that anymore. 2.5 years ago, I would have to take Norco, Hydro, muscle relaxers just to sleep at night. Then I was battling sleep apnea that was waking me up anyway. So I was in this negative feedback loop of just getting sicker and sicker and not being able to come out of it and figure out how to get better. Doctors weren't helping me. Gym bros were writing programs. They weren't helping. Nutritionists were looking at it. They weren't helping. The only thing that changed everything for me was that tea in the morning and this pre-meal drink that I have 10 minutes before I eat anything. Why this works is because it's slowing down the delivery of those sugars into your system. But when you drink it 10 minutes before, it makes you feel full before you even eat. So now you're less likely to overeat. You're slowing down the sugar, so you're staying full longer. It's allowing the cells to take a breath. And they're like, okay, insulin's not this big bully anymore. I can maybe let him in my door again. So now your cells are starting to get energy again that they've been shut down to because they were just tired of insulin being such a bully and knocking on their door all the time. So when that happens, you become insulin sensitive, all of these symptoms of your body hurting, the inflammation, all of that can start to go away. But it does. So it's a tea in the morning and a pre-meal drink before I eat anything. Got me off of over 10 different medications. And then I combine it with some intermittent fasting to allow those insulin levels to come down. That's it. That's as easy as it is. And the first 6 months that I did this, I was driving for Lyft and Uber. So I would still have like a McDonald's cheeseburger or something in the middle of the night because that was the only place during COVID that was open that I could grab anything. During the day when I was home, I tried to eat better. But when you're out for 10 hours, that's what I was having. So it didn't require me to be perfect, although I try to do the best I can. Like I want people to know you start where you're at and you build into your health and you start to figure it out from there. Some people are doing very low carbohydrates. Some people are just eating normally. But the key is getting that fiber in before you eat so that your body can deal with it more naturally. When the sugar levels come down and the insulin levels come down, the inflammation can start to leave your body. There is something called, and you guys, I'm not as versed on this because I don't normally talk about it, but there is something called metabolic water, and that's actually adding to your inflammation. So in the presence of insulin resistance, these molecules that form in your body have to have certain pieces that collect together, and they're not, and it's causing inflammation. There's so many other factors to it, but pain like fibromyalgia, we have nerve damage, we have signaling that's not going off in the right places, and that's causing this body-wide pain. What they find is that a lot of people with fibromyalgia actually also have insulin resistance. And as they start treating the insulin resistance, the fibromyalgia starts to get better. So there's a definite link between that. It happened for me. I remember, I don't know if anybody else suffers with this, but I remember having pain and fatigue that I would be like, it just feels like, this was what I would tell my kids. It feels like some stuck a vacuum cleaner to my belly button and sucked all my energy out, and then I'm in pain and I have no energy and I don't know what to do. That's all insulin resistance. Yeah. So Ingrid's asking, can we get information? What products do I use? I actually see your doctor and requested to change your, he only gives you birth control for your PCOS. Oh, let's talk about PCOS. Would you like to talk about that? Because it's actually called, well, Dr. Bickman would call it metabolic infertility. And so what's happening is insulin resistance is affecting your hormones and the way your ovaries are processing your eggs, your luteinizing hormone, your follicle stimulating hormone, and converting androgens into estrogens, and that's what's causing the PCOS. So you're trying to fast, and that seems to be working good. Lost, now stopped. You did lose, now stopped, and you're lost again. What to do next? Okay. So I want to first tell you that I have a number of women who, like, some of them already have their children because I've been doing this for 2 years, 2.5 years now. But some of them started and they were like, I have irregular periods. The doctors told me I'll probably never have a family. I'm in pain. I'm tired. I have hair growing on my face. I have fatigue. I'm aggressive. those symptoms all went away. The periods they noticed right away started getting better. One of them, I remember she told me in the first month, her period normalized. The second month, she had her like 4-week period for the first time in her life. Third month comes along, no period. She's like, what the heck? It was working so well. Come to find out, she had gotten pregnant. Now she's having the family that she wanted to have. She actually has that child, and I think he's about a year old now. So all she did was address her insulin, and this thing that the doctor's telling you that there's not a lot you can do for, um, has reversed for her and for many others. So with PCOS, in your ovaries, your body starts to cue eggs to be released. And there's follicle stimulating hormones, there's luteinizing hormones. I'm not going to get into all of that today. But there's this whole hormonal balance that has to happen in your body. When insulin is present, the first thing that's happening is androgens, which all of our sex hormones start out as androgens and get converted into estrogens. That's being prevented with insulin resistance. They're not converting into estrogens when they should. So now you have excess testosterone and you have a lower estrogen level. Okay. So now you're starting to have all those problems and the body just can't convert it. But not only that, those other hormones of luteinizing and follicle stimulating hormones aren't happening when they're supposed to be. So now instead of an egg or several eggs being released, one maturing, and it's saying, the body's saying, this egg is ready, all the other eggs are supposed to go away. The hormones are get released that help those eggs dissipate so that they're just like dissolved and go away, and the one egg that's ready is hanging out waiting for its sperm partner, right? But with insulin resistance, what's happening is the cues for those other hormones aren't coming through. So the eggs are not being dissolved. They're just like landing inside your ovaries, and they're just kind of hanging out there in the lining, and they start to get absorbed in the lining, and it causes little pockets of inflammation or cysts. So poly meaning many, cystic ovarian syndrome. And it all starts with this dysfunction of insulin. And when you get the insulin under control so that it's not throwing all the other hormones off, your body can start to do what it was meant to do naturally. So the products, let's take a look at that. I'll put a link in here. If you're on TikTok, I'll show you where to find, and then we're going to go on through that. So if you go here, Ingrid, and by the way, I'm going to dive into that today too, because it is in the PDR, so your physician can see it. We've had a number of physicians starting to use it, and when they utilize it themselves, they're like, this is the best thing that I've seen come across in medicine in 20 years. Okay. So it works and it's in the PDR. All right, let's go. I'm going to show you this one. I think it's just been an emotional up and down week. Good stuff, but I'm drained from it. Lots going on. Anyway, all right, so you all on TikTok, if you want to go to my profile, tap on that, and the picture that comes up below will take you to my profile picture. And when we get there, we're going to see this. Flip this around. So you're going to see my profile. And right at the top where you see that, you're going to see these lights. Where those red lights are, right below them, you'll see that link. So I sent you the link on Facebook. It's going to take you to my Linktree page. This is where you're going to find the order. Okay. So right here is where you're going to order this top link. You're going to click on that. Remember, I said a tea in the morning, a pre-meal drink before you eat anything. I did not mention that they just mix in water. The tea you can have hot or cold. The pre-meal drink, you want to drink it cold and drink it right away 10 minutes before you eat. So you're just going to click on the buy now. Make sure it says Michelle Fayant at the top. I'm not sure why this is keeps taking me to, oh, I know why. I was helping somebody. There we go. Okay. So it should say Michelle Fayant at the top. That way you get a hold of me. I coach you. I help you. I send you all kinds of information. You're not just buying a product and then being left. Okay. Buy now. You're going to see this, the 30 tea for one a day and 60 of the balance for one before each meal. It comes in lemon or lemon ginger for the tea, and you can have that cold or hot, like I said. And then the pre-meal drink comes in apple crush, which is kind of a slightly tart but sweet apple flavor, and then orange tastes like an orange Julius. Again, that one you're going to step in cold water and drink down 10 minutes before you eat. So you're going to get 60 of those. The entire system is $159 a month. Put it on subscription, and it will save you $5. Plus, they won't charge you shipping. So now that's about $15 savings. And then you can cancel it at any time. Okay. You eventually say, this is not for me, I didn't like it, you can cancel it. We do have a 90-day money-back guarantee, satisfaction guarantee, and a quality guarantee to cover all of that. If you're buying through someone authorized like me, you don't get all the guarantees because we don't know where the product came from. Okay. So as on eBay, Walmart, none of those are authorized. When you order the first month on subscription, you'll also get that free hand mixer. I had somebody not order the subscription, and then they're like, I want this the hand mixer. Well, that's a gift when you do the subscription. Okay. So any questions about the product? It's actually very simple to order, and you do get access to me at any time for help. I lost it. I have too many windows open, you guys. There it is. Okay. So when we come back here, there's a ton of information. I do have a website if you want to go. There's more information on each one of the products, why they work, and videos on the science. That's right. I said I was going to talk about the PDR. By the way, there are clinical validation studies on this. So this new fiber drink, that's our fiber drink. That's not anything else out there. This is it. A natural first-line treatment for mild hypercholesterolemia. And just there's study after study on this one at the University of Sydney on blood glucose and blood insulin on our product that shows that it reduces a blood sugar spike by 20% with one pack, and the insulin by 13. 2 packets, if you're having a glucose meal, will reduce your blood sugar by 28%, but now it reduces the insulin by 27%, and that's huge. So there's actual scientific studies behind it. Your doctor can look all of that up. But the amazing thing for those of you guys, and here's the other thing, Ingrid, if you're going to your doctor and he agrees to it, he can write a prescription for this. I put my keyboard aside and I need it. And I also logged myself out. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and we're going to just look up the one component, but both of them are in here. Our company, by the way, has 18 natural products in the PDR. We are one of the only companies with natural products in the PDR, and the PDR is Prescriber's Digital Reference. This used to be in a big fat book when I worked in doctors' offices. The internet's amazing. So now we can find it on the internet. All right, so we're going to click on balance, and here it is in this where you find all of your drugs that your doctor prescribes you. But this is not a drug. It's real food. Why? They've changed this website, and I hate how they've changed it. So this is balance in the PDR. Your physician can look it up and find it. So where I was getting to is go into your physician and say, I'd like to try this. If he has a prescription, you can take the receipt from your order and turn it into your insurance. And some insurances are starting to cover it, because it is in the prescriber's digital reference along with that prescription from your doctor. So for you, that's what I would do, is get him to give you the prescription, and then you have a hope that your insurance will reimburse part or all of it for you. But all of the information is here on it, benefits and research. I want you to see that there is, we do have studies with the American Diabetes Association and the American Heart Association for this product. So safety and warnings. This is the only safety and warning with it. If you're not used to having fiber in your system, you may experience some gas and bloating at first, and or loose stools or abdominal discomfort as your gut is getting stronger. That goes away in time, what I like to think of is when somebody says, I'm having this gastrointestinal distress, I'm like, good, because that means now we're getting you stronger. Stick it out, it will get better. Mine only lasted a couple of weeks and it wasn't that intense. Apparently I was getting in more fiber than I thought. Okay, but that's it. It's in the prescriber's reference, lots of studies and science behind it. And there you have it. So, yeah, so we have some endocrinologists who are, so I'm sorry, Ingrid is saying, thank you so much. I'm going to see an endocrinologist on Monday and she'll ask. So endocrinologists are starting to recommend it as well. So we have, can I get my life under control? We have endocrinologists, cardiologists, neurologists, nephrologists, and oncologists who are all starting to recommend the system. So the only physicians who are saying anything otherwise are people who haven't even tried it or don't even know what it is. The physicians who've tried it and understand it are all recommending it because they're seeing how much good it can do. In fact, there's properties in this that act like a natural statin, helping people get off of statin drugs, helping people like myself get off of all the drugs I was on for so many years. By the way, Ingrid, when I was younger, and PCOS never really goes away, right? But it looks different in menopause because my hormones are all different anyway. But I had PCOS when I was younger. Wish I would have known about this because it would have changed everything. I always used to say my children were immaculate conception because who knows? I was told I would never have kids, but I was fortunate enough to have two. But I also suffered with the weight gain and the hair loss and all of that stuff. You don't have to, and this is just real food. By the way, it doesn't interfere with anything else that you may be doing or your doctor may have given you. So again, just heartfelt, give it a try because you need to try it. It could change everything for you and it's not going to damage anything for you. So people also with like IBS, I was listening to Dr. Bickman before this. So some inflammatory things that we often don't think about are like Crohn's disease and inflammatory disease. When we get the insulin under control, we can see an improvement in things like Crohn's disease. And then Hashimoto's is another one that we see improvement with as we get inflammation under control on the system. Okay, any other questions? I don't know if I missed any over here as I was talking to Ingrid. Let me check through. Do you guys have any questions? Let me put this up so you guys can see what we're talking about. I took way too many pictures the other night for Halloween, so I got to clear that out. Okay, I'm going to put this up over here for you guys too. So these things are all linked to insulin resistance. And all three of us ladies had insulin resistance. All three of us ladies couldn't lose weight. All three of us were just having health problem after health problem after health problem. And all we did was this protocol that I just went over, and it changed everything for us. Took us out of the insulin resistant state, has helped people with Hashimoto's and PCOS. And yes, men, when we talk about metabolic infertility, that's you too. So if you're experiencing low testosterone and or erectile dysfunction, it could be you. And getting the insulin under control helps with that. I have a number of men who have been reporting that, nobody wants to talk about that, but their erectile dysfunction is gone. Their testosterone is back in normal levels for the first time in a long time and just feeling better. So when we look at these lists up here, I do want to say, when we look at the skin stuff, acne, skin tags, and dark skin patches, those are all early warning signs that you have this thing called insulin resistance. Your skin is like an early warning detector. Even before you start having excess weight, even before you start having the bulging belly or any of the other things, you might likely see that you're starting to have some cystic acne, that you're having dark skin patches where your skin rubs under your arms and on your knees, on your elbows, in any of those places. That's insulin resistance. Anybody suffering with skin tags, understand that those are a hyperproduction of keratinocytes where there's too much insulin causing too much of the growth. Now the skin cells are poking out in these little mushroom-like projections all over your neck, under your arms, in your groin. groin even, and it can be embarrassing. That's insulin resistance. So many people are going in and having them cut off, having them lasered off, having them whatever in a effort to get rid of them. But what we're not thinking about is that was a result of something deeper going on. So you're getting rid of those, but you're not getting rid of the result underneath. They will come back. And I had skin tags on my neck and under my arms. When I got my insulin resistance under control within 3 months, every single skin tag that I had was gone. And I hear report after report about that from other ladies and men as well. So understand that you don't have to live with even those things. High cholesterol is very, very common. Now, how many of you guys think, and this is actually just asking questions because I want to bring you some information. It's not to embarrass anyone. How many of you guys think that your cholesterol is about the fat that you're eating? That if you have a lot of fats in your system, it's going to damage your heart and you're going to have cholesterol problems. James, tell me what you started it for. I would love to know, and then I would love to help you through that. So James started it. You feel really good. Most people notice an increase in energy right away, a decrease in cravings right away, less fixation for food. So those are some simple things. You'll start to see the inflammation go down. So Ingrid, let's see. Sorry about that auto reply. It's not supposed to be doing that. But so she's saying you're right. I know I have. So this is Ingrid talking. You're right. I know I had when I was younger, but I didn't have problems to get pregnant twice, but always body aches, hair on the chin. Now everything is out of control and don't recognize herself. I don't get normal explanations from doctors just to explain what and what. I only get knowledge from social media. Yes. I had dark skin around the neck and skin tags, but fasting helped a lot. So yes, fasting does help. I encourage you to make sure you're getting in those fibers as well. You want to take care of the gut microbiome, and you want to make sure that you're refeeding your cells along the way. Fasting, you guys, if you don't know me, I love fasting. Is it easy? Not always, but I drink my tea. So by the way, Ingrid, when I drink this tea, I'm not breaking my fast. This is actually helping me in a fasted state. It's not spiking my insulin. I did some tests. I talked to Dr. Bickman about it. And I said, hey, I did this during a fasting state. I think I did like a 10-day fast. And I did this in the middle of the 10-day fast. And my ketones actually went up. What that means is that this did not spike my insulin, because if my insulin had gone up, my ketones would have gone down. But after drinking this, my ketones actually went up, which means that it was pushing me further into a fasted state. So, and Ingrid, I want to say, I worked for doctors, and there's really good doctors out there. There's doctors who are just like on autopilot. They're like the rest of us. They're human, right? They have their knowledge areas and they have their limit. But I felt the same. I worked for a hormone doctor, and we did all the tests. We used me as a guinea pig. We did saliva tests. We did 24-hour urine tests. We did blood tests. We did all of these things, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. One of the tests was a metabolic test. It came back, and she was like, you have the worst metabolic type that I could have had come back. There's nothing I can do for you. You're always going to be fat. You're always going to be tired. You're always going to be hurting. I can't help you. What? My doctor is telling me they can't help me. And this protocol that I talked about is the only thing that helped me. They had prescribed Ozempic, metformin for me. And I did it for a little while, but I couldn't tolerate it. And then I was like, what are you doing anyway? I hate medications. I don't like them unless they're life-saving, as in, you're septic or you had surgery and you need an antibiotic. There's time and place for medicine. What scares me is that there are so many doctors who are just giving you medicine when it's a dietary disorder. When we understand that our food has been messed with and that we just need to fix how our food has been messed with, we can start to get better and not use those medications that are causing other problems, that are causing other symptoms in the body. I had a lawsuit pulled up on Ozempic. So they failed to list the gallbladder issues with Ozempic. And so now there's a huge lawsuit because Ozempic can cause problems with gallbladder and the biliary system. I've been saying it for years, not years, for a long time, but it also can cause problems with your liver and your kidneys and your thyroid. I've had people actually call me and tell me their thyroid's messed up after being on one of those GLP-1 agonists, that their liver is messed up, that they lost weight, but now they're gaining weight back. A lot of people are losing muscle mass. There's so many things that are happening with it. Obesity is an end product. Obesity is a symptom of something else going on. Okay. So some people will say, just lose the weight and you'll feel better. Hey, Jason, I've missed you, buddy. But let's take a look at the fact that you don't store fat unless you have excess insulin in the body. Now, what you missed, Benito, at the beginning is, so people are always equating this insulin resistance, and I talk about it a lot, that our food is causing it because we're having food that converts to sugar too quickly. We're being told to eat every 2 hours, so now we're continually dumping energy into the system. And then they start to gain weight because they have insulin resistance. It's a hormone problem. And so it's not that easy, you guys. For some people, it's not that easy. What about a woman who has low estrogen? Estrogen helps protect from excess insulin. So they start gaining weight, even though another woman is eating the same amount and they're not gaining weight. It's about the hormones. So, and then insulin resistance, it's not just about the food we eat. That's the biggest piece. But what you missed in the beginning was how inflammation is causing insulin resistance, and insulin resistance is causing the weight gain. What you need to understand, Benito, very kindly, is you cannot store fat without excess insulin. So if you want to address the weight, then you need to address the fact that there's too much insulin in the system. Today we're talking about how things like head injuries, surgeries, infections, bleeding, when you get periodontitis, that can all cause your body to become resistant to insulin. And when the cells in your body are not taking up the insulin or that they need, you start to get sick, and then the insulin has no other place to store it but your fat cells. The weight is not the most important part. So Jason Benito was extremely heavy. He was pushing 400 pounds. He's now under 300 pounds. He's now got his A1C from like 13.3 almost down to normal. But he tried to lose weight, was frustrated. His doctors were frustrated. He was not doing well when we met. He's amazing now. And all 5.6, I didn't have this news. So 5.6 is amazing, Jason. That's the best news I've had all day. And I've had some good news today. So Jason was able to lose the weight. And so it's over 150 pounds now for Jason. And it wasn't just, oh, lose the weight. You know what? All right, ladies, gentlemen who are here, how many of you have gone to the doctor and they say, just lose the weight, you'll feel better? And you're like I was. I had a doctor who had to have a surgery, and she said, I won't do the surgery for you until you lose 15 pounds. And I'm like, doc, I did keto. I worked out 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. I did all the things and I couldn't lose weight. Help me out. And she was like, so sorry, lose the weight or I won't do the surgery. Another doctor's like, just lose the weight. Just go to a nutritionist. I had a gym guy who trains 170 pounds. Holy crap. But I had a gym guy who was writing workouts for me. I was a world champion athlete. And he said, Misha, I'm going to help you out. I know what the problem is. I'm going to write your food. I'm going to write your macros. I'm going to do all of that. We're going to get this weight off of you. He gave me these programs. I followed them to the T. I checked in with him. Couldn't lose the weight. Couldn't lose the weight. So tell me how it's just about losing weight. Because there are so many more people just like me who are going into the doctor and all they're getting is just lose weight. If you cared more, if you did more, if you blah, 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 you would do better. And do you think that these people don't care about their health? because that's a pretty narcissistic view. So it's about getting the hormones under control so that when the hormones are regulated, leptin and ghrelin, your hunger and satiety hormones are regulated by insulin. Your stress hormone called cortisol happens when you have excess insulin, all of that. When you start getting this under control, the weight will come off. But not only will the weight come off, it starts to help all of these other things get better. Yeah. So insulin resistance and sugar have different complications. So, right. And one thing that drives me bananas is when people talk about carbohydrates. They're like, just don't have any carbs, but eat all the vegetables. You guys, vegetables and fruits are carbohydrates. Sugar is not just the white sugar you think about. It's just not the agave syrup and all of that stuff. Sugar is in every one of your fruits and vegetables. And why are we getting sick, even though so many people are eating more of it? Because the fibers have been stripped out of it, and the fibers are prophylactic for the sugar to help how the sugar delivers to the system. But it's been stripped out of our food because we want food that tastes better. We want food that's bigger and plumper and juicier. And so now that key component is stripped out and people are getting sick. And people are finding that not only did the inflammation exacerbate this, which is what happened to me, then this is causing more inflammation in the body. So get this under control and all of the rest gets under control. James says, plus everything here in the United States is saturated with, go ahead and finish that, high fructose corn syrup. That's not what I was expecting. That is not what I was expecting, but I'm going to say 100% you're correct. High fructose corn syrup. So one person was talking about just eat all the vegetables, and I'm like, wait. We need to pay attention to what vegetables we're eating. I love corn too. Do you know why we all love corn? Because it's high in fructose. It's high in sugars. So there are some vegetables that convert into sugar quicker, and there are some vegetables that convert into sugar slower. Dark leafy greens, broccolis, and those things, asparagus and green beans, less sugar, more fiber, less of an insulin spike. Corn, peas, potatoes, all of those spike your sugar higher, which spikes the insulin higher, and now we have a problem. But I started asking about fats earlier, and I forgot to finish that. Fats. I hear from people like, I'm doing really good because I'm eating nothing but fruits and vegetables, and I'm not having those saturated fats, and I'm not doing it. I'm like, oh my God, you guys, you have to have protein in to lose weight. If you're deficient on protein, your body's going to stall your weight loss, okay, or your fat loss. If you don't get the proper amounts of fats and the right type of fats in with your proteins, you're putting your muscles at risk. You need fats. High fructose. I saw your comment. I'm like, so when we talk about fats, we want extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, and the fats that come naturally on your animal fats. Stop cutting all the fat off your steaks. Stop taking the skin off the chicken. Stop de-yolking your eggs. That's not what's causing the cholesterol problem. Cholesterol that's causing problems in your system is a factor of how things are converting inside your system because of high amounts of sugar and, yes, fructose. When we talk about fructose, which is high in fruits and some vegetables, it's causing a problem with your liver because it's not, it just digests different. So it gums up your liver. I'm looking at myself in there thinking, but it's this side. So, and then when you start having that, you start ending up with like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. This is why we see so many kids who are having non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, pre-diabetes, diabetes, because they're eating too much fruit, drinking too many fruit juices because it's the better choice, right? Yes, it has more vitamins and minerals in it, but it's also causing a load on the liver. So I don't mind a kid having juice once in a while, but if that's like something they're drinking every day and a lot of, just be aware that it could cause them some problems. So that fructose is causing a problem with the liver. I got in trouble for talking about that a couple of weeks ago, but there's like study after study after study that talks about how high amounts of fruit, and especially fruit juice, because now you've taken the fiber out of the fruit to get the juice. Now you're just getting that straight sugar into your system and then attacking your liver, because your liver's got to process it. Okay, so be aware of that. I'm not sure why all these things are going off. Okay, guys, Ingrid, I hope I've answered your questions. Guys, I gotta go. I'll be back at 8 in the morning. Appreciate you hanging out. Appreciate all the comments. I love having stuff to talk about either way. Hopefully I will be more awake. I've had so much going on in my life. I've not been getting enough sleep. And that's one thing I want to talk to you about. We don't talk about it enough with insulin resistance. One way, besides moving your body, one way to help your insulin resistance is get enough rest. You guys don't lay awake at night scrolling through your phone and thinking that 4 hours of sleep is good, because it's not. It's going to cause all kinds of problems I don't have time to talk about right now. We can do it another time. Join me in the morning, ask those questions, and we're going to talk about the dawn phenomenon and why cortisol is important in all of this and how it can cause inflammation and all of that as well as making you even more insulin resistant. In the meantime, if you want the protocol that I'm on, that Jason is on, I'm still blown away, Jason. Like, maybe I'm not being able to talk right because you just hit me with the best load of bricks that I could have had all day. 170 pounds gone. His A1C was 13.3. That's deadly, you guys. That's deadly. And it's now 5.6. So that's within range. And he didn't do any medications. He didn't do any gastric surgeries. He didn't do any of that. He just did the same protocol that I'm doing. And it fixed most of his health issues. It's taken care of a lot of these health issues for me and for many, many other people. So if you're suffering, go check out the system. 90-day money back guarantee. It's in the PDR. Lots of science behind it, but it's not a medication, won't interfere with any medications you're on, is not causing damage to your body, but it's supporting your body so that your body can be healthy. All right, we'll see you guys at 8 in the morning. Have a great day.